Well guys, it's time for the final Ohio Valley Conference tournament today. UT Martin finished 15-5 in league play, scored the #1 overall seed, and will face a scary 8th seed to tip off playoff basketball. Welcome back everybody to the College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode with the UT Martin Skyhawks. So great to have you today as Coach Carter prepares for his final shot to win a March Madness game with Tennessee Martin before he packs it up and heads to another school. But of course, playing in March is not a right, it's a privilege you have to earn, and UT Martin knows what is at stake today. They'll take on the 8th seed in round 1, the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. And you can't let their subpar 10-20 record fool you. This is a team I was very scared to face in postseason play. Just last episode, down the stretch in the regular season, we squared off against Tech on the road, and it was a memorable game with an even memorable finish. As we take a look here, they had us on the ropes. We were down 51-54 with only a minute remaining. We scored a basket, and we let Jacques Diggs, our best player, take it to him on the final possession. We were going to live or die with the result of having the ball in the hands of our best offensive player, and Jacques Diggs comes through again. He was picked up on this final possession by the Tennessee Tech's best defender, Landon Lamoureux, the 6'9 sophomore, and he fouled Jacques Diggs on the jumper. Diggs would step up and hit both free throws to take the lead with .2 ticks left on the game clock. Jacques Diggs, our leader all season long, he's been red hot heading in to the final home stretch of games here in postseason play, and we barely snuck by the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. So we know what's at stake today. With how good this team held with us, anything can happen today, even though we're the 1 seed. The biggest storyline heading into that Tech game was the 2 top Conference Player of the Year candidates facing off, Jacques Diggs for our troops and Cordell Crosby for Tech. He's a powerful post presence and averages over 20 points a clip, but Tech also surrounds him with other talented defensive pieces such as Damon Billings, a 6'11 senior who actually has the longest wingspan in the conference. He blocked 3 shots against us last episode, and Landon Lamoureux, who starts at the off-guard position despite standing at 6'9". He made Diggs work very hard for his looks in the last meeting. And this results in Tech leading the conference in rebounds, block shots, and also turnovers a game. So these are some key stats to keep in mind moving forward as we head to the hardwood. We're ready to get things underway, and I still can't believe that Tech has 20 losses on the season. That's just so crazy to me, but hey, that's what playoff basketball is all about. When you have a goal in mind like Coach Carter does, winning a March Madness game at a school as small as UT Martin, there's going to be bumps in the road to try to stop you from reaching your ultimate goal. And there's no coach you'd rather have on your side than Ken Carter. So welcome back to the Thompson Bowling Arena, the Ohio Valley Conference Playoffs, hosted by the Tennessee Vols, as Blaine Fry wins the tip, and UT Martin has first rights to the orange as we get things underway this episode, as Blaine Fry starts us off with 2 free throws as we get on the stat sheet. And we also won both regular season matchups against Tech, albeit both those games were single-digit victories for the Skyhawks as Taron Gardner climbs the ladder, blocks Billings, and Jacques Diggs, who leads the break, will deliver a no-look find to Evan Schneiderman as we open things up with a 5-0 run. And seeing a good start just like this is going to be so key today, especially after how bad we started against Tech in the previous meeting, as we see Betancourt stepping it back here. No good, but Blaine Fry rips down offensive rebound number 2 in the first 2 minutes of the contest. How about Blaine Fry? He is making his presence felt against Cordell Crosby. Blaine Fry has been awesome down the stretch. He's approaching 10 points per game, 8 rebounds average, and he would be the 3rd UT Martin Skyhawk to average double figures on the season, joining Diggs and Gardner potentially, as we double Cordell Crosby there on that possession, but he makes a great pass out of the double team and finds Landon Lamoureux. And I know Lamoureux is a great perimeter defender, don't get me wrong, but don't forget about him on offense as well. He actually led the Tech offense in scoring in the previous meeting. He had 13 against us in the last episode. And then Jacques Diggs is tagged for a foul. Cordell Crosby now with his own 3-point play the hard way, giving it back to Blaine Fry a little bit, as Crosby, a very good free throw shooter for his size and position, would knock down the free throw as Cleveland, Harrison, and Gill, the first reserve players to check in for UT Martin, as here come the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. They take the lead and try to extend it with a 3-pointer made by Xavier O'Donnell. He is also another Tennessee Tech Golden Eagle, who can stretch the floor a little bit as they stretch out this lead a little bit as well. Now a 7-point deficit, as then Brian Gill will check in and throw it away to Damon Billings, but Dom Cleveland, the 7-2 backup center, making a play, getting back in transition. He is awesome at those little intangibles, the little things. Dominic Cleveland, a great hustle player to have off the bench. A lot of heart displayed by him. Brian Gill gets us back, trending in the right direction, and then follows it up with a three-pointer from the corner. Brian Gill, I talked about it last episode. He's had a great turnaround here at the tail end of his freshman year. It took him a little while to adjust to the college game, but he has his swagger back from whenever we watched him in high school in the AAU tournaments. Now we find Landon Lamoureux riding the baseline for basket number 2 as Tech takes a 5-point lead, 21-16, as Blaine Fry checks back in along with Jacques Diggs. And Diggs has been quiet. He's been jammed all game long by Landon Lamoureux. You saw him almost tip it away from Diggs there, but Betancourt does save the possession, and him and Dusty Harrison, nice little two-man game between him and the sophomore. And Darnay Betancourt, I got to give him a lot of credit, man. He is great at finding his shot in the mid-range, and he has also done a great job of not staying the same player once he transferred here. He's added a lot to his game over the weeks, including his facilitating. He averages over 4 assists per game as he records one right there to Jacques Diggs. Diggs only had 1 free throw up to this point, but finally a field goal for Diggs after he missed his first 4 shots. So now knotted up at 23 apiece, a stop and a score takes that lead, and Schneiderman, our best defender, gets that stop, finds Diggs, and it's heat check time from long range. Jacques Diggs has been quiet, but now back-to-back triples for the senior out of San Antonio. And speaking of NBA range, I've been meaning to tell you guys, I've been working on a little draft class for NBA 2K22 with the best and most fun to watch players from this channel. All my series, they're going to be on that draft class, so that's something to look forward to as Tennessee Tech burns a timeout, runs a pick and pop between Charlie Waters and Lamoureux, and Lamoureux will respond. Nicely done there. I like the play call there to knot things back up at 26 apiece. Then Tech holds a 2-point advantage with 40 seconds left to go. Taron Gardner has been quiet on offense, but there's his second stop. Schneiderman will again lead the break. This time he will just reset it to Blaine Fry, but Blaine Fry will then step his way. 2 points, 8 and 9 on the ball game. A very productive day despite facing this 2-3 zone from Tech. So we enter the intermission with a 28-28 tie in Darnay Betancourt. 4 seconds into the halftime period, or out of the halftime period rather, he records a steal. He's your team leader in that category, and then a pick and roll. Jacques Diggs to Gardner, who makes the extra pass. Great find by Gardner down deep in the low post. Schneiderman with 3-pointer number 2 in 2 attempts as well. Tennessee Tech, though, regains the lead and regains it by 4, in fact. 12:42 left to go in the contest as Darnay Betancourt finds another mid-range jumper. He does a great job whenever he enters the post. He keeps moving as Taron Gardner takes it away, turns the corner, and will record the steal and the dunk to tie things back up. Taron Gardner, there's his first basket. Haven't heard much from him. He actually went into the halftime period 0 for 4 from the field. Maybe that will get him going a little bit, as there is Vern Ramlow who checks in as well. Another talented Tech big man. Can't get the second chance basket to fall as Jacques Diggs. Nice feed inside to Schneiderman, but then has his pocket picked by Ramlow. Landon Lamoureux then on the break with the pull from 10 feet. He is so hard to guard when he gets downhill momentum. 11 points for number 11, and Landon is still perfect on the game as well. So once again, he enjoys great success against UT Martin, just like he did last episode, as this one swings over to Brian Gill. Let's go! Brian Gill is on pace to have his best career performance in one of the biggest games of this season. 7:26 left to go, 42-41. It's all bench players with the exception of Taron Gardner out on the floor for UT Martin as Brian Gill wants the isolation on Lamoureux. The swagger is back from the kid from Florida. Look at this take all offhand. Brian Gill goes one-on-one against Lamoureux, the same defender who's been giving so much trouble to Jacques Diggs all game long, and he wins that battle. And then he follows it up with the best dime we've seen all day long. The UT Martin offense has looked pretty good throughout the entire game. A lot of nice assists from pretty much everybody out on the floor, but I think that one takes the cake. Brian Gill with over 10 points, and now the game's best assist, but we're under 5 minutes to go. It's the starters out there, with the exception of Brian Gill. He's having a little extra run, still trying to ride the hot hand, as this one's given to Blaine Fry. Skip past to Betancourt, who frees up some space for Brian Gill to stroke another one. Brian Gill, where is this coming from? Up to 13 for the freshman. 48-48 with the season on the line in the balance with 4:24 left to go, and we're trapping Charlie Waters. We get the steal. UT Martin has numbers, and Brian Gill thinks about it from three-point land. Instead, he'll feed the post to Gardner, and Gardner continues to be a very solid post playmaker today. He records another assist to guess who? Brian Gill with 16. Plus that assist, Brian Gill, this was the breakout game we were waiting for from the freshman out of West Palm Beach, Florida. You're getting a glimpse of the future of the UT Martin backcourt right here. And he retires to the bench for the rest of the game in favor of Jacques Diggs after a valiant career night. 3:10 left to go now, 51-51, as Dusty Harrison, who also gets some extra run out here as Evan Schneiderman gets a couple minutes to breathe a little bit after a very good defensive performance. He will then find Blaine Fry, a beautiful assist there by the sophomore Harrison, and we hold a one-basket lead as Cordell Crosby then will find his way into the lane, and Taron Gardner is forced to foul. That's our 16th foul. A lot of free throws taken. Most of them have been by Cordell himself. He is so talented and physical down low. He just draws so much contact, and he's a great free throw shooter. However, he only goes 1 for 2 here as Schneiderman checks back in for the final 90 seconds and almost gives it away, but holds firm, and we have a 1-point lead with 1:25 left to go. Darnay Betancourt on the baseline, and we'll give it up to Gardner. Schneiderman to Diggs. He'll jab. He'll create some space and knock it through. Jacques Diggs, we go to him again despite his poor fortune tonight. He's up to 10 now. Finally, he's in double figures for the potential conference player of the year. 56-52, 107 left to go. The season in the balance. Come on, we want that March Madness bid. 1 minute left. Xavier O'Donnell baseline. And one as he records the blocking foul on Taron Gardner. Switching hands in midair, Xavier O'Donnell, another Tech player, in double figures, and the free throw rattles in. And it's been a forgettable night for Taron Gardner, that's for sure, outside of his playmaking. So that O'Donnell and one makes things a lot more interesting here on this possession. It's a 1-point game as we keep the ball in the hands of Jacques Diggs, who knifes his way down the heart of the painted area. Diggs hasn't had it all game long, but with the season in the balance, trying to avoid this first round upset, Diggs is up to a dozen and had 10 of those here in the second half. This one swings over to Damon Billings. He can hit those, no good, but Cordell Crosby is there for the follow to keep Tech's hopes alive. Back down to a 1-point game as the Golden Eagles will begin to foul and eventually would send our best free throw shooter to the line. Darnay Betancourt, his success from mid-range also seems to have resulted in a lot of success from the cherry stripe as well. He shoots 79% on the season as the Oklahoma Sooner transfer will toe the line for 2 here. He made the front end. The second one is good as well after a crazy bounce off the iron. UT Martin gets back on defense as Betancourt picks up Willingham from half court. Dish over to Crosby. No good. Man, what has gotten into Tennessee Tech? Their shot selection down the stretch has been definitely questionable to say the least. And Taron Gardner can put away his rough offensive day if he can knock down at least one here, but the first one is short. Cordell Crosby collects and gives it to Lamoureux and eventually Willingham to set things up here. O'Donnell, he's blocked, but then takes it back from Schneiderman. 14 seconds left. Come on, UT Martin, dig in for one more stop. 10 seconds. Willingham surveys, gives it to O'Donnell, who's open. That one's off, but then it's Billings. 5 seconds. Lamoureux to Willingham. Last chance. It's short. Collected by Blaine Fry. UT Martin holds on in an extraordinary win to save their season. Oh my goodness. Tech had 4 chances to tie it up, but somehow we survive. We couldn't grab a rebound to save our lives. They're at the end of the game against the conference's best rebounding team, but we hold our breath and somehow make it out unscathed. Oh my goodness, I could not believe that. Tennessee Tech just became crazy with the three-pointers there at the end of the game, but we hold on, and it was in big part to Blaine Fry's near double-double and Brian Gill's career performance. 16 points for the freshman, 4 made tray balls, and that assist. I cannot keep talking about that assist. It was just so beautiful. 11 points for 3 Golden Eagle players, including Cordell Crosby, who was kind of MIA there down the stretch. So as we look at the overall bracket after that heart-pumping first round tango with the Golden Eagles, as you see here, Austin Peay takes down Eastern Illinois, Southeast Missouri holds on and completes the upset against Morehead State, and the 2-seed Eastern Kentucky will take care of business against Jacksonville State. So we're going to face Austin Peay once again. This is our third meeting against them after splitting the season series 1-1. Brandon Lennox, their top scorer on the season, and he also had 17 in the Eastern Illinois game as well. Austin Peay really sticks out in my mind this season because I remember our first conference game. It was a road game at Peay, and they actually ended up taking it to us, and we almost came back and won that game, but we began the conference slate 0-1 thanks to the Governors. But that was a very different time. UT Martin was still trying to find themselves and figure out this rotation, but now they look like a very scary team as we hop into the semifinal game against the Austin Peay Governors. A lot of zone from this team as well, just like Tennessee Tech. And here on the first possession, Betancourt nearly turns it over, but then he responds nicely with a free throw line jumper. Another mid-range shot falls for Betancourt. A big reason why Austin Peay won that first matchup of this season is because of turnovers, and here we go with one right here. Evan Schneiderman with a horrible one. This is not the time to be trying to do no-look passes out of a jump shot, especially if you're Schneiderman, who's not a pass-first player, and this will lead to Harris Tuitt setting up Travion Baldwin, the most deadly perimeter threat for Peay, as they take a 10-6 lead. 4 minutes into the contest, here's Brandon Lennox, who feeds to it on the back door, but Blaine Fry spikes it like a volleyball player for block number 2, and Dusty Harrison, who continues to be a very productive bench piece, averaging 7 on his sophomore campaign. He will cut the lead down to size a little bit. It's now a basket game as Robar Morrison checks in, the freshman backup point guard for Austin Peay, as this one eventually swings around to Vondell Pitts to take a 4-point Austin Peay lead. Now Jacques Diggs, he's trying to respond after that 40% from the field performance against Tech. This one's blocked, but Taron Gardner is another guy who's trying to get the ship sailing in the right direction, and this is a good way to get it started. This is the game that we know from Taron Gardner, a bang-it-out blue-collar post, and that's how he earns that bucket. So now skipping ahead a little bit, Roshawn Martin and Brian Gill along with Dominique Cleveland all check in as Martin gives it away there. He's normally so sure-handed with the rock, but he got stuck between a rock and a hard place right there, as he either had to turn it over or step back courts, and this would eventually lead to a 3-point play by David Clifton, the second leading rebounder on the Austin Peay Governors. That's actually the second personal for Taron Gardner, so things becoming even more difficult for the junior forward as this one swings to Dusty Harrison, a little bit long, but Dom Cleveland, who had a couple of really key little plays last game, he gets on the board. Love to see it for the 7-2 backup space eater. 18-14 game is now this one is cut off. Blaine Fry steps in the passing lane. This one's delivered to Brian Gill, a rhythm pull-up jump shot as he stays hot. Betancourt with a nice assist there. It's now back up, knotted at 19 apiece. And it looks like we're going to see that these teams have some fight in them. Just because they're facing the top dogs in the conference doesn't mean they're going to just hand it to us. As now Jacques Diggs off the second chance, no good, but the tip-in is secured by Blaine Fry. That's my favorite play in basketball. I love tip-ins, tip slams, tip-ins with just a layup, man. I can't get enough of those. Great hustle play there by Blaine Fry. Dom Cleveland collects rebound number 4 as look at Betancourt going coast to coast. Those long strides of Darnay are just so hard to guard. It's hard to stay in front of the Oklahoma transfer. And he actually ended up having a very key day in this one as we dwindle the time down to 1:40 left to go in the first half. Rolando McCall feeds it high post to Brandon Lennox, and take a look at this little shoulder Kevin Durant post move from Brandon Lennox. He gets on the board, his first basket in 4 attempts from the field, and that came on Blaine Fry. A very impressive play there. But then Blaine Fry will do his own fadeaway from the post over Vondell Pitts. That was a beautiful move by Fry. And even though Blaine Fry and Taron Gardner, they don't take him a lot of mid-range jump shots, they can make them when they're open. That's something to never forget about their games. So now Jacques Diggs, 101 against Vondell Pitts. He's surrounded by 3 red jerseys and makes a nice delivery over to Taron Gardner, who checks back in as he plays with 2 fouls. We enter the halftime period up by 3 as Taron Gardner then collects rebound number 2 to lead us out on the break. Jacques Diggs surveys the floor, likes the 1-on-1 isolation he can take, but a double comes. He'll swing it to Evan Schneiderman, almost turning it over, but then he'll find Darnay Betancourt, and that offensive possession was doomed from the get-go. As this one swings to Harris Tuitt, he then gives it back. Hat trick for Darnay. He's got 3 steals and now 3 assists as he finds Jacques Diggs. Darnay was our best halftime player. He had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 steals, and now 3 assists on the game as we entered the locker room. But take a look at this backdoor feed. These kids can play a little bit on Austin Peay. Harris Tuitt, he leads the team and is amongst the conference leaders in assists per game as he finds Travion Baldwin to cut it back to a 1-possession game. 8:32 left to go. Betancourt, he will then find Jacques Diggs off a curl screen. He loves operating from that elbow, and Jacques Diggs, he's starting to do a better job finding better looks this game. Field goal percentage still under 40%, but he does have 11, so he's scoring at a higher rate than last game. As with Sean Martin, he'll dig it inside to Taron Gardner with the kick out to Dusty Harrison. Hard to believe that Taron Gardner, I know he can make some plays from the post, but it's been awesome to see him take it up a notch. His playmaking has been awesome, finding shooters all tournament long. 47-39, finally some breathing room between the Skyhawks and the Governors. As now Dusty Harrison will try it from the same spot, and he makes it 2 in a row. The sophomore playing a big role today with 10 key points. So we're 5 minutes away from the conference championship as Blaine Fry with block number 5. He's already tied his career high in that category. But Darnay Betancourt, I mean, what more can you say about his transition offense and his finishing ability? He's had it all tournament long, and he has really come into his own in the final 2/3 of this season, and then he'll deliver another nice feed. This one goes inside to Blaine Fry, who would finish second in points in this contest against Austin Peay. And we're looking for one more stop to really silence the Governors. And Blaine Fry gets it done with block number 6. Jacques Diggs will then feed Taron Gardner. Powerful post move past Vondell Pitts and Brandon Lennox to finally slam the door shut on the stingy Austin Peay Governors. It was timely shooting that kept the Govs in the game for a majority of the contest. But at the end of the day, the 3-point shooting and facilitating for UT Martin is what held them in the lead for the final stages. 16-2-4, 3 steals. The do-it-all man today was Darnay, as Jacques Diggs struggled a little bit again, but he only managed to take 9 shots today. Blaine Fry with 12, Dusty Harrison with 10 and 4 assists off the bench. He was the man of the hour when the bench squad checked in, and it was also a very solid defensive performance down the stretch. And Jacques Diggs, I understand there's a little bit of concern there with how he's been playing in the postseason compared to how he closed the season, but I feel like if you watch the tape, he faces so much defensive attention every single trip up the floor, so we really got to get creative, maybe push it in transition a little bit more to find Diggs in the corners and the elbows and where he likes to operate. So as we take a look at the projected brackets, our stock is rising a little bit. We're projected to play Georgetown as the 14th seed in the Charlotte region, which I'm assuming is the East Regional. And that's actually something that's been going up. Our stock is trending in the right direction because for a majority of the season, we were projected to be the 15th seed. So the committee may be favoring us a little bit now as we head into the conference championship game, which will be either against the Eastern Kentucky Colonels. We faced them last year in the title game. It was a very competitive ball game all the way through. Or we could take on the seemingly perennial underdogs. Every single year, they're making noise in the conference tournament. The 6th seed Southeast Missouri State Redhawks. And this is a game that we will tune into next episode before we hop into, of course, the conference championship game. So that next episode's gonna be a lot of fun. It's always a grand old time whenever we hop in and watch some CPU versus CPU gameplay to figure out who our opponent will be in the final UT Martin Coach Carter-led Ohio Valley Conference Championship game. Of course, trying to reach March Madness for one final time, for that one final shot to have our one shining moment and win a March Madness game here at UT Martin before Coach Carter hangs it up and moves on to another school. Hope you enjoyed the episode, everybody. Had a fun time making this one, as I always do. Stay tuned for all this great stuff that's going to be coming to the channel very soon. I'm College Sports Revived, signing out. Take care, everybody.